It's the Brad and John Show.
And this is the C Block. It's May 29th is the date. By the way, we do this show live, 7 to 8 o'clock Central Time on 104.5 KSLQ. Yes, it's actually broadcast on a real radio station with a brand new antenna, which I put up last night, but that's a whole other story. John, something very interesting happened to me.
Oh, really? That's a first.
Did
you sit in your car by yourself and eat ice cream and get accosted by panhandlers?
You'd be surprised how many people commented on my Wednesday, or no, it would have been my Tuesday night sitting in the parking lot. Was it? That's right. Today's Thursday, so that would have been Tuesday night, right? Okay, yeah. How I'm sitting in the parking lot at the Schnucks eating my ice cream because when I went to get a McFlurry, which I've never had before, and I still never had a McFlurry, the ice cream machine was broke. So I went to Schnucks and bought myself a tub of ice cream and a box of plastic spoons, and I sat in the parking lot eating my ice cream, but it was really good. Matter of fact, I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm going to get another one of those things. Okay.
Is there a more appropriate term for ice cream than tub? Has anybody that's ever sat in a car eating ice cream not been tubby?
I used to be tubby. I could lose some weight right now.
And is that past tense?
Well, I've told the story before, John. I graduated from high school. I weighed 162. 2 years later, I weighed 310. I almost doubled in size. So
way to go.
Yeah, not way to go. That's not the way to be. Okay, so what I was going to try to say, and John, you sidetracked me as you normally do.
I know.
I went into NOCO yesterday. Don't ask me what I was doing there because I'm not going to tell. I was on a secret mission, okay? And when I came back from NOCO, I decided, I do this from time to time, I want to take Lindbergh and I want to go underneath the runway, where they built the tunnel. You go through the tunnel.
Yeah.
They're the 1129 runway, okay? As I'm going, and for those of you who know the area well, I'm heading south on Lindbergh. I just went under the old-timey railroad trestle, which floods all the time. Everybody knows where that's at. And matter of fact, now there's something wrong with the drain. They've got street plates there, and you hit the street plates, plonk, plonk, plonk. Anyway, just after I came out of underneath the railroad trestle there, which used to be right around where Mo Bottoms used to be, as I'm driving south on Lindbergh, an F-18 flew right over my head from takeoff. And I'm telling you, it was perfectly timed as I'm southbound in Lindbergh, hadn't yet gotten into the tunnel. He came off, he was on 30 left. He took off on 30 left and was climbing out. He wasn't doing the Viking ascent. You know what the Viking ascent is?
No, I don't.
The Viking ascent is where they come off the runway and they start to climb, and then they just nose the aircraft straight up, and they just do, kick in the afterburners, and they just go vertical up to like 20,000 feet in like 30 seconds or something like that. Anyway, he was doing a normal departure, and he was coming off the runway, and at this point in time, he was like maybe 800-900 feet above my head. I thought to myself, this is cool. This is cool. This is something, that is an F-18 that was made. I don't know if this is a new one, because they roll them off the assembly line there, and then they have a test pilot that comes in. How would you like to have that job? How would you like to have the test pilot job of when, after months and months and months of these planes being manufactured there in McDonnell or Boeing, whatever it is now, when you work on those planes and you're the guy that gets in and says, I hope you guys put everything together right. I hope everything.
Yeah, I don't have the intestinal fortitude to do that.
I hope all the wiring's right. I hope all the bolts are in. I hope all the rivets are just like they're supposed to be, because if they're not, I'm going down in flames. It was just cool. I tell you what, John, I'm having this renewed love affair with North County. I'm telling you, 270 now it's done. Oh man, I have to tell you the most bizarre story too. You know what? Would you mind? I know you don't like it when I have people on the air.
No, call somebody.
No. I got a bizarre, weird Facebook Messenger message last week, and at first I thought it was some creepy dude. Okay, and the guy recently came up as he wanted me to friend him. I'm going, okay, I don't know who this is. I don't remember. And the sad part of it is I forgot this person. It turns out it's one of my students who I taught at Flow Valley in 1979. And he tells me his success story. I want to say not anything to do with taking my class, but has an incredible successful career. And he's complimenting me on essentially getting him in his career.
That's awesome.
And I'm going like, I don't know, is this guy for real? So it turns out it is. And I thought it was some crazy weird, some stalker or something like that. Would you mind if I text him and called him? Because I'm not.
Yeah, go ahead. That sounds fun, Brad. That'd be a great thing to do. And if we can't get him today,
I'm not going to do it.
You could set it up where you could talk to him tomorrow.
I'm not going to do it today. But the interesting part of this is a guy who, and the interesting part of it is he lived in North County, and John, he still lives in North County.
Wow, good for him. And how many times has he been robbed? And can he give us a chart of his property values from 1980 to 2025?
John is a cruel guy. John is a cruel guy. Cruel. Okay.
So that's Brad. Before you call him tomorrow. So in general, he was saying. So let's get this right. He took your class, a community college class, in 1979, and he credits you for being one of the reasons why he has become successful.
He got into the broadcasting field.
That's awesome. Now, let me ask you a serious question. We do a lot of therapy with you on this show. Did you respond to him and immediately, put down his compliment or brush it off? Usually when someone says something factual and kind about you, you treat it like something stuck to the bottom of your shoe. You refuse to acknowledge compliments. With this stranger who you've reconnected with, did you accept his compliment, or did you say, "Aw, shucks, I ain't nothing. I run some piddly radio station. I ain't do nothing"? Or did you really sit with the fact that he's complimenting you?
John, boy, you ask these tough questions.
Because I want an answer. And you'll evade this, and you won't answer this honestly, but you should reflect on the fact, Brad, that you've affected a lot of people's careers. Earlier in this show, you mentioned Sue Thomas, who one of the people that she got her start with you. Now she's very happy on the radio, and you've detailed a number of people that got their start with you. And I know that you don't ever give yourself credit or reflect on the fact that you've helped these people be successful. But if I were you, I'd feel pretty good about the fact that I've helped all these people.
Okay. I will read one part of the Facebook message or text he sent me, okay? And I'm not trying to pat myself in the back, and I did not...
Stop prefacing it with humble brags, Brad. Like, just read it.
Okay. You were a great teacher, and your passion and enthusiasm for the subject matter came through in every class. And my response was, John, what do you think I said response?
You said, "Oh, geez, I ain't nothing. You did it all yourself. I'm just a little bum."
I said, "You are too kind." That's what I said.
Yep, there you go.
He was. And I'll see if he'll go on the air with this, because it's sort of an interesting story. Because what's interesting about it was, he got a job at a very high-profile news operation here in St. Louis. And I won't go any further than that. I'll just stop right there. Okay, change the subject. Okay, here we go, change the subject. Two things we're going to finish off the show with. Have you heard about this watchdog group, this environment? This is actually a group of people who are pro-energy, pro-oil, and things like that.
No, I haven't heard of this.
Watchdog finds no evidence Biden knew of crucial climate EOs, executive orders, demands answers on who signed the autopen. And this is, here we get this. A pro-energy group is renewing its call for investigation into over half a dozen Biden administration executive actions related to climate that it believes should be deemed null and void due to them being signed by an autopen without any public comment from former President Joe Biden confirming.
That's so funny.
And he says, Power the Future, a nonprofit organization that advocates for American energy jobs, reviewed 8 Biden executive orders that it says were significant shifts in domestic energy policy, and said it found no evidence of the president speaking about any of them publicly, raising concerns that the orders were signed by autopen and that he was not aware of them. Quote, "These are not obscure bureaucratic memos. These were foundational shifts in American energy policy. Yet," my phone moved. I hate when that happens. "Yet not once did Joe Biden speak about them publicly," Daniel Turner, founder and executive director of Power the Future, told Fox News Digital. Let me try this again. The executive orders I can't even talk this morning. Reviewed by Power the Future included an Arctic drilling ban in 2023, a 2021 executive order committing the federal government to net zero emissions by 2050, an executive order mandating clean energy AI centers, and an offshore drilling ban executive executive order shortly before leaving office in 2025. They're claiming that Biden knew nothing about this. Nothing about this. And there's a parallel story that the Speaker of the House had a meeting with Biden, and they discussed one of these things, and Biden just said, I never signed that. And he did. It was one of these executive orders.
Yeah, but the argument is he had no idea toward the end what his autopen was signing.
Well, he had no idea what he was doing. And they're saying that people were just, hey, we don't need to. Hey, sir, sign this. Like some executives were. We don't need him. We'll just grab the document and put it under the autopen. And they're now saying that there should be some kind of a federal rule that any other than like correspondence or Christmas cards. By the way, I don't know if I told you this or not. I don't want to say that I'm an important guy, but every year for 7 years when Ronald Reagan was in office, I used to get a Christmas card from Ronald Reagan. From the president of the United States.
Did you put your own name on? Did you request it? I guess yourself.
I did not. I don't know. To this day, I don't know how I got on the list.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And it came to the radio station every year. I'd get a Christmas card from Ronald Reagan. Okay, going back to this. So they're saying that there should be some kind of a rule that states that the only time the auto pen can be used is for non-official business, for correspondence to constituents, for greetings, for bereavement notices, all that kind of stuff. That everything else that is an official government document that has something to do with the governance of the United States should be signed physically by the president, which now we have with the assistance of who's the guy who hands him the documents when Trump signs them? Who's that guy, John?
Will Sharp.
Will Sharp. Will Sharp is the guy who's handing him the things. And then I'm thinking to myself, what in the world kind of pen is he using? Because it's the noisiest damn pen I've ever heard in my life. It's like, what is he using? Is he using like an old quill or something like that?
I think he's using what Bill Cosby used to use. Brad, what was the show? Was it on Fat Albert, or what was the show where Bill Cosby would draw things? Do you know the show I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would use a very squeaky pen for that.
Okay. Last but not least for this morning, John. Do you know who, I'm throwing this name out, do you know who Todd and Julie Chrisley are?
Yeah, the Keeping Up with the Chrisley. It was the creepy looking, he looks like he's gay. Apparently he's not, but he looks like he's had a lot of plastic surgery, and he just got pardoned. And what did they do? Was it tax embezzlement or something?
Him and his wife, tax fraud. I think they were. If I'm not mistaken, he was involved in some company that assisted banks that were foreclosing on properties or something like that. That somehow remains in my mind that that's what he did. And I don't want to say this and be like a jerk when I say this, but I've had exposure to, in our industry, religious broadcasters. Okay, and for the most part, I would rather be on the air here for 10 hours and have John insult me continuously for 10 hours than deal with most religious broadcasters. Because
that means I need to be harsher. Because
they are really tough to deal with. Really tough to deal with. I have a guy, I won't say specifically who this guy is, but I have a guy that I employ that he works for me. He's a consultant for my radio stations. And his job used to be, he worked for a religious organization that had hundreds of stations around the country. And he worked daily with these people, and it drove him crazy. And he finally had to quit. He started his own company as a consulting engineer. Okay. And one of the conversations I had with him, he said, and he's really a funny guy. He's very, very, he says things in a very humorous way. Every single time I talk to him, I laugh with him because he's really funny. He said in one conversation, he said, yeah, those religious broadcasters, they think they have the bat phone to the man upstairs. I bet. Which I thought was an interesting comment. Okay. The Chrisleys were like this as well, too. They were very God-fearing people. And when it turned out they were just jerks to deal with. He was a butthead, she was a butthead, and they had this lifestyle. Oh, we're just so perfect. Look at us. Look at this great life we have. And it's to the point where it's reality TV, and I think reality TV should be renamed non-reality TV. I will say it again. The only TV show on TV that's a reality TV show that is real is Cops, because of the fact that, and there may be some parts of Cops that are not as real as they should be, but once again, the producers of Cops don't get to criminals and say, okay, now we got the cops crew in the back seat of the car. Now here's what's going to happen. The cruiser's going to come up 5th Street, and you're going to blow a stop sign at Main, and then you're going to evade the cops, and then you're going to turn into a bank, and you're going to jump out of the car, and you're going to throw a brick at the police officer. No, that doesn't happen. It's real life. Reality shows are bogus, they're fake, they're phony. It's just like if I brought in a 1952 left-handed monkey wrench that was only one of 3 in the world, and I took it into the Pawn Stars guys, and I went in there and say, hey, I'd like to sell this to you. And what's his name? Rick Harrison would go, oh, it's a 1952 left-handed monkey wrench. Only 3 of these were made in the United States. And
where's the expert, Brad, when that happens?
Right. Well,
just down the street.
Right. Let me call in my buddy. He's right down the street. He'll be here in 10 seconds. And the interesting part of this is that you don't see, here's the interesting thing. This is Brad, the TV nerd. They're all wearing wireless body pack microphones. Okay, so people in off the street, John, if you went to a pawn shop and you know they were recording a show in there, would you have your body pack wireless mic on with your little lavalier stuck underneath your shirt so nobody can see it? Would you have that if you walked in the pawn shop? No! It's all fake and phony baloney stuff. It's every last one of them. And the Chrisleys are phony baloney. But the bottom line is Trump pardoned them. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Mr. Trump, I agree with some of your pardons. I don't agree with this one. These people deserve to be in jail. I'm sorry, they deserve to be in jail.
That people talk about Keeping Up with the Chrisleys, but my favorite reality show was Keeping Up with the Klondikes. And you would put a body pack microphone on everybody who came through Klondike Park. And it was really efficient because you'd have about 3 people a week. And then you would just interview them. You could interview John Lamping's dog, for example. That was one of my favorite shows.
You know, the sad thing about this is ever since John Lamping's, degraded himself and moved to the Augusta area, the Cardinals have just done terribly. I mean,
I know. He is kinfolk to Mark Lamping.
He needs to get back in the groove. Matter of fact, you know where they need him? They need him to be the new coach for the soccer team, which has lost 18 of the last 19 games. Boy, didn't the bloom come off of that rose quick, huh, John? Oh my God.
They hired a new coach with some kind of funny foreign name, so I'm sure he'll turn things around.
Well, you don't think Olaf's the previous coach has a funny name? Olaf?
Yeah, well, what's the previous guy, Olaf?
Yeah, Olaf Bingerbonger or something like that. I don't remember what his name was. It was Olaf, O-L-E-F, Olaf.
Isn't Bingerbonger what you called your high school car, Brad?
No, that was my 62 Pontiac Cadillac station wagon, which I wish I had back. See, I wish I had every car I owned back. I've owned over 100 cars and trucks in my life. Over 100.
Wow, I find that hard to believe. And 43 of them you got from Pick and Pull.
No.
And all over 100, you've taken a carbon unfriendly trip to Jefferson City to get your plates, Brad. It's beautiful.
And I've made an unfriendly carbon trip to the West Coast on several occasions. Matter of fact, my first time in California was with my $100 car.
I'd love to stay in chat, but some guy I met in 1979 attributes his success to me, and I got to reply to him, Brad.
I'm going to call him and see what he says, okay?
Please do.